Hey, everybody, welcome to Movies Worth Talking About, where we talk and talk and talk about movies. I'm John Carlos, and I am joined by originally one of the, like, you were on a bunch of episodes in the past. It's been a while, but now you're back, BJ Brasier.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Good to have you with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Así, así.
Más o menos.
Bueno.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hola, Juan. Hola. Yeah. Bedazzled. Oh, we gotta talk about Bedazzled
Oh,
someday.
man. The cheese is old and moldy. Where's the bathroom? Uh, we're here not to talk about Encino Man or Bedazzled, although Bedazzled is fucking great.
Great. So is Encino Man. I
So
mean,
yeah. No, Encino Man's
Stone
good.
Cold Crazy. Doon, 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 doon. Oh yeah, man.
Where's the juice? No wheezing the juice.
No whizzing the Jews.
I okay. We're gonna talk about the Frighteners, but I just
Yes,
want to say
Frighteners.
I rewatched Encino Man somewhat recently, and I didn't realize until now that I'm an adult that like Sean Astin's character is a dick, and Pauly Shore, the hippie that everyone is always side eyeing and looking at and talking shit on, is like friendship, accountability. We got to take care of this guy, and Sean Astin's always like, this girl that I feel entitled to, like, I want her to go out with me, and let me always try to get Link thrown at. Like, I didn't see any of that when I was a kid, but the main character sucks.
A lot of movies you find out people like now as an adult, in my 40s, man, like movies, like I'm like, whoa. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm old now.
it's Encino Man's like this weird nerd fantasy where he's just like, I get a caveman and I'm gonna try to be popular. And Pauly Shore's like, but he's a person and we should take care of him. And everyone's like, fuck you, Pauly Shore. And I'm like, he's the only character in this movie who's reasonable and like
You
accountable.
should
And
listen to Pauly Shore.
you really should.
I don't know why people don't listen to Pauly Shore. They should have listened to him the whole time.
Um, Frighteners.
Frighteners.
Frighteners. Oh my god.
There's
Where
a
do we
lot. There's a lot. This movie is loaded. Watched it last night, and it is loaded. It is loaded.
It is loaded. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. One of the reasons it's loaded is that when I think I was 15 or 16 when it came out. Thought it was a good time. Always thought it was a good time. I always knew that like Michael J. Fox's character Frank Bannister has like an arc, but it wasn't until I got older where I'm like yeah, it's funny and yeah, ghosts and shit, but like at the core of it, underneath all of it, like when you ask like what's this movie about, it's not about ghosts. It's about a broken man who holds all this guilt about when his wife died and how he can't fucking move on. And I don't want to say like it's a glum sad time, but there's a lot more to chew on when you're just 16 going ghosts.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I think I was 17 when it came out, and I remember it was a weekend where I was going to go to like go out of. It was like summer or something, and I was going to go up to some family's house up in the Bay, and so I was going to be gone for that week. And the movie was coming out on Friday, and I was like, I leave Saturday morning. I have to go see the Frighteners because when I go up there, I don't know if I'm going to get to, and I have to see this movie. And yeah, it was kind of a Ghostbusters vibe to it. It's kind of a Death Becomes Her vibe. Like it's a very dark, gritty movie. Like it's but I remember I was like, oh, there's ghosts and oh, and they're funny and they're from different eras and oh, it looks like the mummy's walking and all that stuff. The judge, that's what I was really into, but it deals with loss and abandonment and guilt and survivor's guilt and all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff in a very serious way. I don't even know if movies that are coming out these days that aren't super serious would even slightly touch that.
Yeah. And if they do, it's like that's all they touch. Like like A24 movies where it's like
Right.
they made a horror movie. It's about guilt and trauma. And I love those movies, but like they're all about guilt and trauma.
Yeah.
And there's no levity. Yeah, I mean, if anything, the thing that really struck me, I mean, and it really struck me hard this time because I haven't watched this in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
And I used to watch it like when it first came out on VHS, I watched it all the time. But the thing that struck me, not to get like on a soapbox, about the industry as a consumer. I don't work in the industry, mind you, but like, it feels like
You work in the industry, you work in entertainment. That's definitely part of it.
yeah. Anyway,
I mean, that you're a big
yeah.
part of it. Yeah, you definitely are
Um,
in it.
the industry, if you look back at, say, for example, of this movie, it's a very unique voice that maybe it doesn't cater to everybody. It caters to a certain demographic, just in the same way that like Beetlejuice, certain
I
sometimes,
I thought
sometimes,
Beetlejuice, yeah, Beetlejuice as well, yeah.
but sometimes a very distinct voice connects with the public in a way you're like, oh, it turns out people want, a ghost and floating and Deo and all this shit. And a lot of times maybe a distinct unified voice like doesn't always connect. And it feels to me, even though we do have a few movies that break this mold, it feels like the safest bet, right, is to hit like all four quadrants. We got to get a movie that's got something in it for kids, but needs to appeal definitely to like 18 to 40-year-old boys. But how do we get the women in? And if we can get the older audience to come in, and I don't want to, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Hollywood is all homogenized. But every once in a while, like a James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy happens, and people are like, what? People want cum jokes and a talking raccoon. Like, yeah, it turns out they do. If we give them something different, people gravitate to it. But this movie is not playing to like all four quadrants. It is not a safe bet. And it just hit me watching this how few movies swing the way this does. How and this is gonna be a weird example, but like you can make a movie for like Barbie. Barbie can be enjoyed by everybody and anybody, but there is definitely someone it's kind of made for. And I feel like the Frighteners is like, we made a spooky, weird, ghosty movie, and there's a good chance, people might find it too silly or too weird. But anyway, I just don't think the Frighteners would get made now because I think
No, I don't think it would either.
not
Absolutely.
not only does it visually look like a horror movie, but it's also very silly and cartoony. And sometimes people can't, you start giving people too many tones and they go, I don't know, I don't like what I'm watching. So Michael J. Fox holding these like cartoon machine guns and the portal to heaven, like Jake Busey swims through it. Like there's so many Looney Tunes gags in this,
Yeah.
which I'm
It's
fine with. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, it's
It's my
very
cup of tea.
yeah, it's what I want to see. So it's kind of like it's yeah, like Beetlejuice is another good vibe. Like if you said this happens in the Beetlejuice universe, you'd believe it. It
Oh yeah.
totally would. If you somebody said that, hey, the town down the street from Beetlejuice, this is what's happening in the town, you'd believe it. And it would match. So I think it's a really weird. It's kind of it's a movie that even when it came out was kind of not in vogue anymore either. The '80s movies, like Flight of the Navigator, The Last Starfighter, Goonies, Explorers. They're all kind of movies that tonally, because they're not all. It wouldn't work in every quadrant and everything. I don't see any of those movies kind of being made now. And even at the time when that came out, it kind of had a house vibe, and I don't think that movie would be made now either. Beetlejuice wouldn't be made now.
No. And again, if you did make Beetlejuice now, you wouldn't expect it to open like, to me, like Beetlejuice is kind of like a Guardians. Like the public didn't know who Guardians were. James Gunn's bringing a very molded by trauma flavor to it,
Yeah.
and boom, big hit. Oh, it turns out people want a Beetlejuice.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's humor mixed with tragedy, mixed with adventure, mixed with the occult, mixed with, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's
it
yeah, I was watching it, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. Like this
it
is turned
swings
into a
in
yeah.
so many kind of different directions.
I think also now it's when it came out, and even when I really fell in love with it, when I walked to the theater, I remember just my being awestruck. I thought it was a masterpiece. Um, and to this day, even just the music in the beginning when it says the Frighteners and it lights up and everything, it's like perfect. The opening sequence, even though the special effects seem kind of archaic now, but I mean, at the time, I remember that intro to that movie blew my mind. I thought uh it was stunning, it was frightening, and it seemed graphic even though nothing's really happening. um it has like an Alfred Hitchcock vibe to it. It's yeah.
Oh,
That it deals with some stuff now that seems like stuff we don't want to talk about. Like the shooting in the hospital seems very resonant now. It doesn't seem like just a scene in a movie. It's much more terrifying and seems kind of more real now. And I mean, different time, but because we weren't having, remember, then that was like distant thing, like, oh, in the 50s there was this shooting, oh my god, I can't believe that ever happened. And then, and in 1997 or whatever, we were 2 years removed before the influx of that happened, so it's a different vibe.
It's amazing how times change. I was recently watching Heathers, a
Mm,
comedy about
yeah.
high school people killing other high school students.
Yes.
This was the subject of a dark comedy in the 80s, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the climax is like mass killing students at like a pep rally.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
times change.
Yeah, it just, it's not funny anymore. It's just kind of a weird vibe. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what makes it all the more chilling is oh shit, I just watched it today. I hate getting older because names don't stay in my head anymore. Johnny Bartlett, there it is.
Johnny Bartlett's frightening.
The fact that it isn't just I want to kill people. It's I want to top the other killers. The
Yeah.
fanboy enthusiasm is what always unnerves me about him is it's stats.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's got fanboy energy.
Yeah,
You know?
it's gross. Yeah.
He's the original toxic fanboy, like before.
Yeah. Just in time for the Phantom Menace. Yeah. I bet he was in line. Yeah.
Dude, I will never forget. I saw this movie in theaters twice. First time I saw it like with my dad. And the second Jake Busey was like on screen, like you just saw him on the little VHS documentary she's watching.
This one.
Yeah. I hadn't even said his name in the credits, but you just go, look at those teeth. That's got to be Gary Busey's kid, right?
That's what I said. Yeah. When I said, I was like, that guy looks like that guy from Lethal Weapon.
The second the credits, you're like Jake Busey. Got it.
Yeah, Busey. Yep, there he is.
Like unmistakable. And hell of a performance. Love him in this.
Yeah, he Johnny Bartlett seems like a very real character. He never breaks. It never looks like he's acting. And also, it's weird. The chemistry between him and the actress who play they see it's real. Like it's intense.
Oh yeah. Also, I love his physicality. Like when he's in the living room and he's taking her to the kitchen and like showing her the knives.
Yeah.
When they flash back to Frank Bannister's wife getting killed.
Oh my god.
It's something to me. I've always remembered the way he like walks around the body and like leans down, like
Yeah.
the arch of his back, the bend of his knees. Like there's this very juvenile energy that
Yeah.
he's a very physical performer and it really comes across. I think he's great in this.
Yeah, he's outstanding. Yeah, and that in the hospital. So back to that hospital, when they keep doing flashbacks back and forward between the massacre and now, that is one of the they should show that in film school. They might show that in film school. And that sequence is so well done that sequence alone makes the movie. If you don't like anything about this movie, if you watch that, just how they did it from a technique perspective and how smooth the transitions are. Like when you see the young version of her walking out the hallway and she fires and then it just whoop and it's in modern times and she slides through with the gun with the flashlight on it. It's yeah.
By the way, that's some of the best casting I've ever seen for the young
Yes.
version of her.
She looks just like her. It's
Insane.
Well, and that's why whenever it cuts back and forth, you just know who it is. It's the same
Yeah.
person. I mean, this movie, because now
Well, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just gonna say that this movie, like I think of one thing, and then I think of a completely different thing from a different part of the movie that is great from a different. Like they shouldn't be in the same movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
movies that have this really well done don't have this and this and this really. It's kind of like Dark City, where there's just so many levels of great things and so many different things taking it in different ways, and everything is stellar.
Yeah, like I'll come back to this, but like for example, like we're talking about some of the suspense of the hospital flashbacks, but we also have like, and I've never known if it's Chi McBride or Chi McBride, but like we've got the wacky ghosts doing their shtick, and that's funny. And sometimes you forget that this is all part of the same movie, and it all works.
I love the ghost guys. I the judge. I love all.
We'll get to them, but I just want to come back to the hospital because it's a Peter Jackson film, but I'm always reminded that I'm like, oh, but it's produced by Robert Zemeckis, right? So like, you look at Peter Jackson's career prior to that, really low budget, zany horror comedies. Then he went super fucking serious with Heavenly Creatures, fucking masterpiece over at Miramax. So which means it costs, I don't know, like $3 million, if that. This is a pretty big jump up from that. And I have to think part of that has to do with Zemeckis. And I'm not saying that he has fingerprints on this, but I can see how and why he'd want to produce it. And I can kind of see the interest that he would have. Because like obviously Zemeckis is one of like the main creators of Tales from the Crypt, the TV show. So I get like the ghoulishness of it all. But he was also like such a big pioneer of VFX during like the 90s and into 2000s. And not only do you see a lot of CGI that was at its time brand new, we'll get to that, but there's all these little techniques in the movie. And Zemeckis loved like that shot in Contact where you're following through the house and then it pulls out through the mirror and you're like, what the fuck? How did you do that? You mentioned Hitchcock. The opening shot of the movie is an exterior up to the window. And I know there's a cut, but it's so blended well that we go into the room,
and that has kind of
into the
a Tales of the
hole.
Crypt. Yeah, it has kind of a Tales of Crypt vibe. Yeah, it's kind of a Tales from the Crypt. I mean, I went and saw this movie for two reasons: Michael J. Fox and Robert Zemeckis. Those are the two reasons. I like when I saw it. I was like, oh, to me, I see Zemeckis all over the movie. I feel like Zemeckis is. I fingerprints. Damn. Like to me, he probably was much more involved than he is in other things. I feel like this movie was a movie where he goes, I get to do whatever the hell I want. I'm just going to do crazy. And he did. And that's why,
what I imagine is Peter Jackson, either, I don't know who came up with the idea, but whoever said like, I want to maybe start in the house and go in. And Zemeckis is like, yeah, like I'm the guy who can get the money, because there's another way we do this movie where we don't have to composite from outside into the room, into another where we go through the floor. There's a much cheaper way to do this. Zemeckis makes it so we don't do the cheap version. We got to do the cool version. And Zemeckis, I think, goes, I want to do this. I want to make this shot happen. All to say, when we're in the hospital, and this is another time where I go, I love this. I love when you could feel filmmaking happen. It's an infectious thing in you. There is a shot where Michael J. Fox is in the hospital, flashing back. It's all brightly lit. And Johnny Bartlett shoots like a male nurse or something. A nurse. I don't have to call him male. Anyway, the guy flies back into the wall. And as he drops out of frame, the lighting changes from light to present.
Yeah.
And then the second the camera moves, the rest of the set is all cobwebs. So there's this one clean corner, and you know that while the rest of the scene's happening, that nurse is hanging out of frame, like on a little crash pad. I love when movies feel theatrical. When we are in one shot, we go from one time zone to another time zone, but we never cut. Part of the set is dressed clean. Part of the set is dressed dirty.
Right. It's movie. It's like movie magic.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the stuff that, as kids, we were like, oh, I want to set this up. And then the camera's going to go like this and the light's going to change. And the set has two sides and you're going to cut here and this door is going to open to something else. And it's funny because I just brought up Zemeckis' movies, and obviously Back to the Future and everything. But Death Becomes Her is in there. What Lies Beneath. I know you're not a huge fan of that one, but like those movies very much, have ties vibe wise, style wise, to this, and it feels like this feels like another Death Becomes Her type movie.
It does.
Just straight up, like that could be in the same universe.
I mean, horror comedies have been around since, I'm sure, even before Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But like,
another one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
They're two genres that smush together well, but there's something about this movie that's definitely spinning a lot more stranger plates that,
the tone is darker and the danger is more real than something like Abbott and Costello. It's not a farce. It's like, no, this is a genuine situation, but there's levity, in places.
And there's also like more, like unique flavors, like Jeffrey Combs as Milton Dahmer's Agent Dahmer's.
Yeah.
Such a strange, like, I think he's great,
Oh, he's incredible.
I don't know if everyone would think he's, you know, like I'm not I'm gonna keep saying that this movie isn't for everyone, but like I feel like I don't think my mom would watch this and go, "Oh, that Dahmer's, he cracks me up." But the fact that this guy like is such a strange, like I don't even know if misogynist is the right word, but
I'm
like
moving the car with my mind. Oh, I love it. Oh, and then
this,
when he
I mean,
his death is epic. Like it's so well done.
when
The
he
ghost is there.
when he pukes
Oh
and then
yeah.
he's like, "Sorry, I have a problem with women yelling."
He's just,
Everyone in my theater started laughing. I'm like,
son of
awesome.
a bitch. Like no, yeah.
Yes.
And he's all, and he turns the music on, and he's like, son of a bitch. Oh my god, it was. Oh yeah, I love
Well,
all of that.
and
So
also
quotable, so
it's
quotable too.
it's funny because I don't Dead Alive slash Brain Dead, whichever title you go with,
Mhm.
I think is a legitimately funny movie. It's one of my favorites. But I, for some reason, I don't think of Peter Jackson as a comedic director, even though that movie's funny. But there are so many little beats in this movie that are, uh, you know, comedy isn't just the talent in front of the camera; it's also how you frame it and how it's edited. And when Jeffrey Combs is explaining the night that Frank Bannister drove his car and we couldn't
Oh,
find
it's
his knife,
amazing.
like
Oh
you
my
slowly realize he's walking further and further away from the room and he's ending the monologue in the hallway.
And he goes, to this day, it's not walks out the door. Oh my God. Yeah, he's great, dude. Yeah, he's so funny. It's also because he's genuinely creepy and scary too.
Oh yeah.
And when his genuine it's funny because in a movie where it's like you've got villains here and villains there, and but the lines are still kind of blurred. This guy is just a villain who shows up for, the second act and part of the third act, but he's just kind of, he makes it worse. And I can equate his character, in my opinion, only to Janusz from Ghostbusters 2. Like that's the only other time I've seen a character where I go, yo, I don't know who the real person is. And then when you see the real person in an interview or another movie, you go, what? Yeah, I love the agent. He's
Oh,
hilarious.
he's great. And also one of the things about him was that because I saw this movie before I really dove into horror.
Mhm.
So this is my first Jeffrey Combs. So I also didn't like I know now the legacy of him and fucking like From Beyond and Reanimator and all the
Oh
Charles
yeah.
Band movies, Castle Freak. So like I didn't realize that this is like a cult legend. I also all I knew Dee Wallace was like, oh, E.T. I didn't realize the gag of like, no, bitch, she's in Cujo. She's in every fucking horror movie. Like now I look at this movie and I get the gags of casting and all that. What's great about this movie is if you're 16 and you don't know who Dee Wallace is,
Mhm.
you don't feel like you're missing out when Jeffrey Combs comes on screen.
No,
I
and that's,
hate when you feel like you're missing out on something, you know?
yeah. No, I feel like, and it's probably Peter Jackson, they cast people appropriate for the part, but they also cast people with screen credibility when it comes to fans of paranormal horror genre.
Oh, when
And
the first three Peter Jackson movies are all horror movies, and
yeah,
then you get your foot into Hollywood, you're like, yeah, we're gonna cast fucking Jeffrey Combs and like
yeah,
all this. Like,
his
of
yeah,
course we are.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, I'm wearing a lead chest plate or a lead breastplate or whatever. Oh my God, who was it? And his mouth, like oh my God, his hair, his eyes, everything about him's gross, and his lines are, and his delivery, because he just goes.
Yeah, and the way his lips move when he's like
Oh yeah, when he's doing the, oh yeah, it's so good. Yeah, man.
Seventh, Third Street,
On
the third of July.
yeah, that's so good. It's
Agent
so
Dahmer's.
good. Okay, there's one thing that I don't like about the Frighteners.
Oh,
And it's one thing that I noticed when I rewatched it yesterday, and I was like, there it is. That's the one thing that I go, that the beginning, the intro, not the house. The house is great. The and it sucks because there's so much of this that's great, but it totally does not need to happen. And to me, it's hard to follow it because the movie takes a second to get going, has a great opening, and then this stuff with the journalist and the journalist's boss, the editor, all of that seems disjointed, even though her narration is incredible of the little story and tells us a good thing. But then when she goes, you have to his acting, I don't want to say anything bad, but he looks like he is an extra on Days of Our Lives. There's a lot of people scared, miss. It's like it's all blah, blah, blah. And he looks goofy even at the time. His like perfect Zach Morris hairdo and the way he looks and everything. And then what's weird about it is then they show him at the funeral and he looks like a different person. So my mind doesn't automatically go, that's the journalist guy. So when he's doing this, he goes, and now he's like a different person. He acts differently. His hair is wet, which makes it darker. And for some reason, my mind, because I don't know him long enough, can't recognize his face. And then once I recognize who he is, all of a sudden he has a friend there with him. And he starts making like little bitchy faces and it's like, and doing faces like that. Like the whole thing, it just kind of doesn't suit what the first time you see the character, then he shifts into this thing. And then later on when he dies, even when I didn't recognize who it was for a while, like maybe the second or third viewing, I'm like, that's the reporter guy. And then what's funny is the editor, when she goes, did it feel good to kill your wife? I love all of that. What's funny too is when I was watching that with my daughter, when she goes, did it feel good to kill me, Bannister? Did it feel good to kill your wife? And my kid went, sisters.
And she's funny. Like, she's performing it.
Yeah, she looks like Enchantress.
I was thinking she looks like Dana when she's floating and like rubbing the side of her body.
Hey, they might have done that. But yeah, it's I really don't like the opening reporter guy. Like, honestly, you could have started at the funeral. He doesn't even need to be in it. The only reason you keep any of that is for that narration from her in the opening. And then you also have set up for other, people to be killed by death. But her death is great. Her character is great, and her character stands out. Yeah. But the reporter is so disjointed. And then when you see him again, you're like, who's that? Oh, that's the guy that was at the funeral. Oh, wait, that's the guy that's the reporter. Oh, right. I saw him for 20 seconds in the beginning. That's the only thing I have an issue with, is that stuff doesn't work for me for some reason.
I didn't have a problem. I mean, because when he dies, I go, oh yeah, he's the guy, the reporter, and he's at the. I at least recognized him. I didn't have a problem with him. At least when I see him die, I knew who he was. So I think the movie did its job for me in that regard. But
I may just be dumb. So
you're just a petty bitch. I don't know.
Just like him at the funeral. I'm just like, he makes his face. It's so, and then he's like, and I'm like, that is not the character that he was playing at the newspaper. All of a sudden, he's up. I don't know, it stands out to me for some weird reason.
This isn't even a nitpick. It was just an observation this time. But when speaking of the graveyard, different scene when Lucy's husband they're having the funeral for him.
I love him.
I swear to God, Michael J. Fox's hair is longer in that scene. It doesn't match any other scene. I went, wait, was this like day one, or was this a reshoot?
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah,
because it's longer and it's like almost.
Oh my God, like you're talking about funny lines. He's alive. Oh my God, that landed so great with my kid. She was watching it. He goes, he's alive, and then Elvis, and she was like, she thought it was so funny because she's a huge Elvis fan. So
he's great.
He is so good. I think that maybe that was what was going, because now thinking about it, they're setting up so many characters and they all die. I mean, all the characters die, even as the ghosts die. So throughout it, they set up all these characters and they all are getting killed. Like everybody dies except for Bannister, Lucy, that's right. The captain, what's his name?
I don't know.
I'll show you Frank, the fat
guy who's in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you, Frank. Everybody else toast.
But that guy, I feel awful calling him that guy, and I'll learn his name later. But the funny thing is, a big part of this movie is farce, and it's people yelling, and it's mostly ghosts. But to me, that kind of momentum, that kind of energy, and keeping it up scene after scene, I think that guy is fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially, him learning that he's a ghost. Um, the dinner scene where they're asking
Oh
about,
my
and that's
God.
about why he's like, red. We always have red. She's like, I'm a little sick of red. Can I have fucking white? Like,
Yeah, and then you bitch. I think that, oh my God, he's
it gets
so good.
we were watching it today and it got a laugh. And I knew it was coming, and I'm like, because straight up calling women a bitch isn't always funny, but like Tracy laughed, like the beat
It was
worked.
funny
Because I
when
mean,
she's like, we haven't been honest with each other for a long time. You,
well, I
it's
love that.
so like, oh well, and then dude, when she yells back at the son of a bitch, like it's so funny. I don't know why.
I
The
mean, and also,
delivery.
to me, the most telling thing, even before the dinner scene, and it's such a great moment, is when they're watching the thing about how uh the young girl and Johnny Bartlett. She's like, well, she fell in love with the wrong guy. It could happen to
Happen to
anybody.
anyone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, he's Tiger's feeling a little lonely. Oh my God, did the bed levitate? Yeah, yeah, that sequence. Oh my God, when their house gets haunted, that sequence is everything. We've got a poltergeist, and he goes, "No, the police can't handle." Donk, and like all
Yeah.
this stuff's flying around it, and it looks so good. It
Oh
looks
yeah.
so good. The light in
And
it.
the fucking little Raggedy Ann doll.
Oh
The
my
fact that the
God.
music takes it so seriously
Yes.
only
Oh,
enhances him just beating this fucking Raggedy Ann
and it's
doll.
my daughter was like that. She was like, "Oh my God, that's frightening," and I'm like, "It is, right? But it's kind of cute, but frightening." Yeah. Oh my God, that
Uh,
whole thing was excellent.
some credit where credit's due. I remember because I was ever since I was like a little kid, not a little kid, but first time I saw Beetlejuice in '88 was the first time I saw a composer's name and
Oh
learned it.
yeah,
And if I remember
I think the
correctly,
same. Yeah.
at least in '96, I remember thinking literally during the Universal logo, is this the first time Danny Elfman's used harpsichords? I think so. And
Yeah,
to
that
this,
music is so good.
it's
The
one of my
ding ding ding
favorites.
ding 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 ding. It's so like creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the stars of the movie, and some of these beats with like the Raggedy like they don't work without them. The opening
Yeah.
through the house,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is, and yeah, and the opening scene with the carpet and everything, the music is what turns the intensity up because I feel like if you saw some of that and there was not a score, it may come off a little silly. But it doesn't. It comes off frightening. Frightening. It's I think the music is very important, especially in that opening scene. That like the first like 10 minutes of the movie, the music is just as important as the credits or the
yeah.
CGI. Yeah, it's super important.
The opening scene is one of the few parts of the movie that I don't I don't totally lose it, but the whole opening scene turns out to be essentially bullshit because she's working
Hmm.
with Johnny.
Hmm.
So once you know that and you go back and watch the scene again, and you go, well, she's running, she's scared, she's faking it, right? But who's she faking it for? I get it, you're faking it for the audience, but within the movie, who is this for? It's not. Is it for her mom?
Yeah,
You
must be.
know, and I remember thinking, are they just fucking with her mom, or? And this is the only thing I could ever think of besides that, because to me that's not a good enough answer. My only thought was, or is this something she and Johnny do for fun?
Which sounds like them watch after watching the movie.
Right. Because I get the rest of the movie. Lucy's going to the house. She sees the bruises. I get why Lucy's supposed to think it's her mom and how the movie's making us think that her mom's being really mean to her and being super shitty about her involvement with Johnny. And then it turns out she's a psycho. And you go, why the opening scene? Um, that leads me into the director's cut of this movie, which I've seen a handful of times. I prefer the theatrical cut. Um, it's, it's it's one of the rare times where I'm like, no, the theatrical cut is it's tighter. There's some everything that they cut out, you totally should have cut. Um, except for one little scene that I'm like, I like this. Because they're constantly flashing back when they're in the hospital. But there's a part where I think Lucy goes down like the basement and you see Johnny, and I keep forgetting, I just keep calling her let's get her actual name. Patricia. Patricia and Johnny are like, they've already killed a bunch of people. They're already bloody. I think they're done. And she's like, no, no, no. don't get me. And I'm like, oh, you guys are playing. And then like she's on one side of the gurney and he's on the other, and they're playing like he's chasing her. And I'm like, there it is. That's what you guys are doing in the opening scene. You guys have done this before. You like to play chase. This is like a I don't want to call it like a kinky little sex game, but it is.
It's like a kinky little sex game.
It's a kinky little sex game you guys do. And over the years, it's now evolved into a real
Yeah.
commitment to role play.
Well, and also and even with that, they probably, because they're crazy, not dumb. The mentality of doing that also sets up her story that she's not with Johnny. What if, I think Mother is starting to suspect. So, you know, she knows you're around because he's been coming around since forever. She's the one that carved into Michael J. Fox's wife. So I'm wondering if, Mother's catching on, so he has to be trying to hurt her, and or he must be, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of reasoning that just doesn't need to be explained. I mean, that sequence would help, but I don't. But it's almost kind of like I'm like, well, that's kind of like them. They
Yeah. Well,
it
there's
just
a
kind of
lot. There's a lot of little things in the director's cut that like explain shit, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad you cut that out because I didn't need it.
right,
I think at the end of the movie, the policeman talks more about how like, because we know that Frank Bannister's wife had died 5 years prior, but he goes
right,
into like, well, she was released from prison 5 years ago, and then we found a bunch of Ouija boards, so she was
right,
communicating with Johnny, and then and you go, yeah, I got it. Like I didn't need you to tell me that.
yeah.
Same thing with there's a little bit really early on. I don't remember his name, but the guy who's like a 50s fucking, he's got like the Letterman jacket ghost.
The main ghost, the nerdy
The
guy with
the,
the
the white
glasses.
the white ghost. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
nerd.
yeah, 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 yeah.
When he gets stuck in the door, there's a deleted scene shortly after where the other guy helps him get out. He's like, you have to loosen up. Just like relax, relax. And then he pulls him through. And he
Yeah, I
talks about
remember
how
that.
like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
so
yeah.
stiff. Because there is, if you don't have that, like I didn't need it, but sometimes ghosts pass through stuff and sometimes they full on slap a dude.
Yeah,
Sometimes they fall through a floor, sometimes they don't. Like, and that little bit explained how like a ghost can think loose or think solid.
right.
I didn't need it.
Yeah,
I
not
observe it.
necessary.
I can figure out that that's how ghosts operate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the movie is more familiar than also, and that may be the audience for this movie is more familiar. The audience that liked the movie are familiar enough with these things um, that we don't. It's not necessary for over explanation. I think the people that don't are just kind of along for the ride anyway, so they don't need to know the rules. They're just going to kind of follow as it goes.
I love when a movie goes like two plus blank equals five. And they don't say three, but they trust you to go, oh, three.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's never a scene where Lucy's like, so what are ghosts like? And Michael J. Fox as well. Turns out ghosts can harm other ghosts. So like if Doc shot a ghost, he like, no, we just see that like ghosts can injure and like that. We don't have to explain everything. We trust you'll go with it. And good job.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Absolutely.
Also, I think the idea, I presume, of Arlie Ermey's character morphing into a SWAT guy and then morphing into a boxer is to show that like, especially since he's been watching the graveyard for like a long time, that like you can manipulate your form if you need to,
Yeah.
which is how Johnny Bartlett can take the form of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it was funny because I was watching that. I was like, man, how many days did he have to come in and shoot? Because he's in so many different outfits. I mean, he probably shot for one day, but he changes outfits like crazy. And it's so much work. It's so much work, and it's so effective, and it all looks so good. But watching it, I'm like, my God, there were people that spent a year on just him morphing from one to the other. So to shoot that and to have him morph and to have the shot correct and everything, and it's so effortless that some people don't even think about it happening when it happens in the movie. They
Oh
just
yeah,
watch and like, oh yeah, yeah. But then you notice it, and it's like, God, the amount of work that was, and it looks so good.
it's
And it
really
totally suits the character too.
well. I'm glad you're talking about the VFX because I remember at the time reading an article about how like that movie held a record. I think it was the first movie to have all of its VFX completed outside the U.S.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
like at the time, like ILM, I think was based out of California. but like we're gonna do Weta, we're gonna do all this stuff. And I mean, they filmed it in New Zealand, and they did the VFX in New Zealand. And that's the other thing about this movie and Robert Zemeckis is that he really pushed things with Forrest Gump. He pushed a few elements in Contact, and there's
Contact is so good.
so much VFX in this movie. I don't think people younger than us may realize that, like, Terminator 2 came out in 92, and like liquid metal walking through the door, the jail cell door, like this shit was blowing our minds. T-Rex was 1 year later. Forrest Gump and like, meeting JFK, all that was 1 year after that. There's stuff happening in this movie. Like, do you remember when the VFX were a draw? Simply having CGI was like the reason you would go see a movie.
Yeah.
Like, did you know in The Mask his fucking eyes come out? We're like, we gotta see that. If you went to the Frighteners, you're like, there's CGI ghosts, and Michael J. Fox gets hit by a car and he breaks and then he reforms. And like all this stuff was new. It was exciting, even if it wasn't good. And I know that like Zemeckis was like, let's spend the money to try new things. Some of the things are great.
Most of them are great.
The transitions from R. Lee Ermey are great. A lot of the stuff with the Grim Reaper is great. Every once in a while, though, like I know once Johnny Bartlett turns into ooze and goes into the sewer, like they're trying something that we're not quite ready for yet.
Yeah.
This little like CGI sludge creature that like really isn't cutting it, but like we're trying. We're trying something new.
And also it's not long. Yeah.
People don't remember that Frighteners was new stuff.
Well, and also it's not long enough to take you out of it. It's funny because like, with whatever, people think about like in modern movies, like even with The Flash, when people go, oh, the CG takes it out. I'm like, you know what? You were not around when the CGI was always terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if the movie was good, the CGI was, it's there, it's kind of not, or it's good enough. And so much of that movie is right. The two things, the sludge monster and the carpet when it stretches before they shoot the head in the opening sequence, there's a part where you can tell they just stretched the bitmap or JPEG or whatever it is. They stretched it instead of making it move. They just stretched the image, and it looks like it's supposed to look like he's pulling the carpet, but instead it looks really weird. It doesn't look right. And that's kind of it. The man, what looks really cool, and one of arguably my favorite sequence in the movie, bathroom sequence. The bathroom sequence is so cool when he goes into the mirror and the mirror is like all liquidy. Oh my!
Oh, it looks amazing.
Boom, and he just goes into that guy's chest. I mean that, and then he's jumping off the cars and stuff. I mean, oh my god! The Grim Reaper ghost is insanely awesome. Or when he's walking with the big Sith. Oh my god!
Yeah. I don't know if how much of that is based on not necessarily performance capture, because I don't think it really existed then. First time I ever saw performance capture, I think I'm sure that existed before that, but like Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy movie, I remember was the first time I'm like, wait, you're putting dots on who? But like performance reference, whoever, I don't know. So I don't know where, but like the fact that like it turns and the way its head, its shoulders,
that whole thing, it looks
looking
so
around
good.
the fucking museum.
Oh my god!
The way it comes out of the mirror and like it's
so cool. Yeah, no, even now I think, and it was so scary. It's funny because like now, in Harry Potter, they're what are they called? The Dementors totally remind me of that, but it looked. Please don't be mad at me. It looked better in the Frighteners, the way it's moving and even the proportions and stuff, or when it puts its hand out and goes to the soul it takes.
And the beam of light that comes out of it.
Yeah, it's magic. It's magical. It's just it doesn't look the way things do now. Like I don't know, it's just so different. I mean, that movie's that effect is insane.
In fact, I mean, I don't think people truly understood how in 1996 the commercials just showed the wall rippling with something in it. We hadn't seen that. They did it practical for one shot in Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe done it a few other times, but like to do like a full dude like rippling through a wall, rippling through a carpet, that was like exciting enough to get you to go see it.
Oh yeah, that's what in the trailer. I remember that's the trailer. The opening.
That was the fucking poster.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was
Was
just the
we're
thing coming through the
selling
wall.
the selling point of the movie was half of the shots of the commercials were just like the wall moving or like,
Yeah. Oh man, so
come
good.
see
And
this.
they
We're gonna show you walls moving. You've never seen this before.
the part that it was funny because I remember seeing it, and when they do practical effects and all the things are being pushed off the shelves and stuff because he's rippling through the tables and stuff. But when he comes out of the top of the countertop and it's all, I was like, I remember, oh my god, like it can go through anything. And when it comes through the table and everything, oh, I loved all that. I
Yeah.
ate that shit up when I saw that movie.
One of my favorite, and this is a really ambitious thing they did, and they didn't. It doesn't look great, but I respect that they tried. And again, a lot of the times in the '90s, they were trying to run before they could walk, and
Oh
sometimes that's
yeah.
how you got to do it. When he comes through the painting, and they're
Oh
holding the
yeah.
painting, and you see the backside of it, like
So cool.
without the paint,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
he reverse
And
comes out the other side,
yeah, and it's like wood in his arms and it looks really cool.
and
It's yeah, it's really good, especially for the time. Like now you look at it now and you're like, that's still pretty good. But for the time, that was mind blowing. Like
yeah,
he's choking him from the inverse of the painting. It's like, oh my God, it was so cool.
so good.
This movie is just ridiculous.
I'm glad you brought up the bathroom because the other thing I like about the bathroom
Favorite
besides
scene.
the Grim Reaper part is, well, two things. One, the commitment to the performance, which is that Michael J. Fox sees it go through the walls of the stalls.
Yeah.
So like he drops to the ground like fucking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. Like his legs do the
Yeah.
split.
Don't yeah.
Like he doesn't stand and bend down to look at the stalls. It's like emergency mode, go.
Yeah.
And but also then we cut to the
And he's
POV
looking
of
at him
the
like,
guy, and all of a sudden now we have a comedy bit because Michael J.
yeah,
Fox is crawling around. Like
it's so
so good.
funny. And then it just cuts to as soon as he's looking at him like, the hell's he doing? And then the bloom comes out of the mirror. Oh my God. Frightening. And then um also a little, it's kind of a funny thing, but also kind of a sweet thing is that when he dies and he's going up and he goes, Mom, it's almost like beautiful, but kind of funny, but
Well,
tragic.
that when I think about this movie being a mix of horror and cartoon logic, that's one of the bits is like heaven is white and cloudy, and there's a fucking portal. Like go towards the light, and like you see your mom. Like
I loved it.
it's like if a child could have written this movie, that's how they would have written heaven to be. Like
Right. Well, it's funny because I remember being an idiot high school kid. When I saw the movie, I go, they're handling this really well. I remember thinking like, they're not showing it. They're just implying it. And wow, this is pretty good. And hell, now the hell thing, I was wondering like, how does that function? So what is that thing? Is that like a lizard that take a snake that takes it down to fight? What is it? Doesn't matter. But it was like, I remember that was the part I was trying to figure out the logic. I remember trying to figure out the logic of heaven and hell in this, going, that sounds pretty cool.
dude, the the visuals and the idea of like first of all, they're not even in hell. They're just in a worm that's like taking them to hell.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
But
he says
little
express to
worms
hell. Yeah.
going through your eyes and
Oh, that no, that's kind of what's funny is that's cartoony, but it's wildly graphic.
yeah.
Like that part I closed your eyes because I knew it was coming, and it goes and they're like screaming and stuff. It's dude, the screams and stuff in this are blood curdling. Both Lucy and Patricia, their screams, it seems real. Like when Lucy, like when she thinks she's gonna die and they choke out Michael J. Fox and he hits the ground and she's like it looks real. Like it's all of a sudden there's no humor. They're gonna kill this lady and brutally, and it's weird because it just has such sharp intensity either way, you know. Because right after that happens, she's about to be murdered, and then he goes, they're like up in heaven, and he's like, oh yeah, he's a chick magnet, and da 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 da, and you see his wife, and she's like, be happy, and you're like, wow, I just such a range of emotions. I just saw a guy get his head shot off. I saw Michael J. Fox get shot by a machine gun. I saw a pickaxe pulled out, and they wanted to. It's so intense. It's all over the place.
Yeah, like 10 minutes ago, we just saw the old lady dead in her bedroom.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. It's that's what the thing about this movie is that everything except for the reporter in the beginning. I have nothing but good things to say. This movie is I think this movie got it exactly right. I think it's tragic that not a lot of people know it.
Yeah, it's uh I feel like when it came out and for the first like it definitely has its fans, but I feel like in the last I don't know, 10 or 20 years, I don't see it growing in a way that like,
Well, it's funny because to to see that there is Monster Squad fandom, another movie that got the horror and comedic kind of thing right. Because that movie I think is flawless as well. Like that movie's just insanely good. Um, and it mixes horror and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this guy just blew up a kid's treehouse and he's throwing dynamite under police cars and saying, oh my god, it's intense. Or when he picks up Phoebe and he's like, you little bitch. Like it's so 80s intense that even now, like Stranger Things doesn't scare my kid. She hasn't seen the last season, but she watched one of the seasons without my permission. And
Mhm.
she watched season 3 without I told you were not supposed to watch that. And she watched it and she was like, yeah, there's some parts, but not too much. Frighteners, scared. Dark City, scared. You know what I'm saying? Like Monster Squad, scared because they're tonally and effects wise and the way it's shot and the way and Stranger Things does have this a little bit of this, but the idea that it does not matter who you are, if you're a kid, if you're a mom, if you're a soldier, if it doesn't, if you're the hero, you can die. And in
Oh
this
yeah.
movie, everybody is on the when they kill Bannister, when she chokes him out, I thought that was well, his story arc is complete. That's what I thought. I was like, he got the bad guys, you know,
Yeah.
got the bad guys. He's dead. He's with his wife. The ghost went to heaven. But we're done, and then he comes back and then he has a new lease on life and all that, which is really positive, great ending to such a dark movie where everyone dies. But it's yeah, it's weird that this hasn't grown. The popularity or interest in this movie hasn't grown at all.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the same amount of people I know who liked it, it's still that same amount of people now.
Yeah, I don't know many people that even know this movie, much
I've
less.
had to turn a few people onto it, as opposed to just running into people who already know it.
That's what we need to
Uh,
do. We need to make a Halloween list that we put out on social media and go watch these movies.
Watch it. I'm glad you brought up like the little afterlife thing because that's one of the little things about the movie that really like I don't know connected with me this time was just how broken Frank Bannister is at the beginning of this movie. How the idea that like he's got this house that he hasn't finished. Well, why hasn't he
Oh
finished it?
man,
Um,
what a great plot point. The
right,
house, but that hit my kid really well too. Is the basketball court. She
right,
started crying. She was like this. Oh my god, it's her garden. It was really sweet. She got
right.
really, really like choked up about it. Yeah.
But when you just see the nature of how he hasn't moved past that, and in fact, he's now just making his living with the dead.
Hmm.
Message, metaphor,
Hmm.
but also, when he's at dinner with Lucy and she asks him a little about his past, and he's like, let's talk to your husband. That's why we're here. The
Yeah.
second it becomes about that ache, like I get why you're so broken. But when we get to the end of the movie and they're in heaven, and it's not the fact that the dude's like, hey, it's just not your time. It's the fact that they say it's time to start living. And I just went like, this is your movie. Like
Yeah.
time to start living.
Yeah.
And the thing that really hit me this time that in fact, maybe I'm just getting older and becoming a softie, but it's after fucking Jeffrey Combs is getting up in his face in the interrogation room about how like this is
Oh
all
yeah.
just bullshit you've made up because you can't cope with the fact that you're fucking your wife and that this, that, and that it becomes Frank Bannister at his lowest and
Yeah.
and how he's starting to believe all this. So when he's in that jail cell and fucking Lucy comes to see him and he's just
Do you know me, Lucy? Yeah. He
the
looks he's
fucking
strung out. Yeah.
everything about that's like I can for the first time I really went on the emotional ride where like for this is for his story from his point of view, this is the end of it.
Mhm.
Like I have now accepted this horrible dark fate about myself and my involvement with the murders that are going on here that maybe it is related to me and that I'm a fuck all of this and I'm tuning out. I'm rolling over in the jail cell like this is my fate, period. And it's not till Lucy like comes and talks to him, the tear rolls, and then we have our hero at our lowest moment. Now there's only one way to go, and that's up, and we're going to fight our way out. He has a new lease on life, all of that. But I went on that fucking journey with him, so that when they say it's time to start living, like I was like, oh, it's time to start living. Like I come to this for spooky shit and laughs, and this time I got a real heart journey.
Yeah, it's funny is that you mentioning the prison just made me had to point out the best line in the movie. What about the guy in the toilet? He piss on your hush puppies. Oh my god! And that came right before he's sitting there and he's just done. Yeah, and the house thing, and I love that they're sitting there watching the house get destroyed. You ain't never gonna finish his house. I love that they're tearing the house down, and that he has a new life, and then when she says he looks pissed, and he goes, yeah, and he goes, wait, what? And then she repeats his line to him, and then she starts chasing him with the thing. It's a fun, don't fear the Reaper, like, yeah, man. It's a great movie. It's a 10, man. I love this movie.
And hot take, because I know he's had some very beloved roles. This is one of my favorite Michael J. Fox performances. Like really, really up there.
Yeah, I would have to and I love my Marty McFly. But I think Frank Bannister is, of his characters, the one you and I both have dealt with similar situations, not just losing close family members and things like that, people really important to us. And it's hard in movies because, like in the last Indiana Jones movie, for the first time, you just killed my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of the characters, it's rare that characters sit and have to deal with it in a fashion that is unbecoming a movie character, but truer in spirit to what people go through. And this character and this movie deals with that in such an amazing way, that he's just super identifiable. And it's easily, I would say Frank Bannister is probably my favorite. Oh God, I'm going to hear about this. Probably my favorite Michael J. Fox character, even over Marty. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really thought my favorite character, but definitely favorite performance. Because we get the comedy, but we also get, the second you find out what his deal is after his wife, you understand everything about his demeanor, everything about this kind of shitty existence that he's choosing to carry on with.
And I remember thinking this was really dark for him too when he did this. I remember thinking this is dark for Michael J. Fox.
But then you get to the interrogation scene, and then also in his cell. I mean, he's really mining something, like the fact that he's just like, it reminds me of I don't know how much of it's makeup, I don't know how much of it's him, but he reminds me of like Nicole Kidman in Eyes Wide Shut, when she's stayed up all night listening to Tom Cruise explain where he was all night, and we just hard cut to her, and it's just red and just dried tears. And she in real life talked about how, like, well, in order to look like I've been crying for hours, I cried for hours. And I look at Michael J. Fox and I like, you look a mess. You look like you're going through it, which is how an actor is, presumably supposed to do it. When he's accusing him and talking about his wife, and he like gets up and like screams no, like,
oh yeah,
it's some, in my opinion, some of his finest acting,
for sure. Absolutely.
While still giving us like I'm a ghost and I'm flying and trying to land on a car, and and silly shenanigans, like there's so many line readings where he's like, you don't eat, you don't piss,
that shit's all over.
Yeah, like, oh my god,
great line. Yeah,
so
all
good.
Shit's over. Oh my god, one of the best things he does in the movie, and it's funny because
it might be my favorite thing.
Okay, what is it?
No, you say, and I'll tell you if it's my favorite beat or not. No, okay.
When he just throws the fucking cereal over his shoulder out the window of his house, he just goes, and if you watch it, he goes boom and chucks it. It goes so far. Oh my god! Every time I watch that movie, when he bam, bam, and he goes, watch out, or whatever it is, and he throws the cereal over his shoulder. It's so funny because it goes forever. It's so funny.
Well, actually, there's so many different line readings, but it's my favorite part of the entire movie. It's so stupid that My favorite part is 2 seconds long, but it tells you everything you need to know about this movie as far as horror, comedy, timing, Michael J. Fox. It's when they're in the hallway of the jail cell, Grim Reaper's behind them. Lucy goes over to Agent Dahmer's, just
So
hits him with
funny.
the fire extinguisher. Michael J. Fox runs up, kicks him, and the gun flies up
And he catches
out of
it.
the cloud of the fire extinguisher smoke, catches it.
So funny. So and it's
economic.
Totally works.
It's so good.
He kicks it, it pops up, he grabs it, let's go. Yeah, I mean, it's just so great. Like, and it's not. What's funny is it's so silly when you describe it in the movie. You just go, "Oh, there it is." Okay, like it just works.
Yeah, and he has to sell that physically. He has to have the weight of the saddest scenes of the movie. He also has to be funny as fuck and be the hero, but also be broken.
Yeah, there's literally no one else that could play this part but Michael J. Fox. Yeah, man.
And to make it even more, I don't even know what that sentence is, but I about a year ago, I think earlier this year, I watched the documentary, the Apple TV documentary on Michael J. Fox, which is fucking great. But the fact that was made kind of like in a period of his life where emotionally dealing with his Parkinson's was really like eating, and like he was taking every job he can get just to sort of not deal with it, and he was spending like less time with his family and getting more lost in his work. Not like it was like but like he was in the kind of a sad headspace. The fact that he can still show up to work knowing, now I know what he was going through literally at that time, and can still show up and do his fucking job and give us such a great performance, to me is like a testament of his strength as an actor and his commitment to like making it work.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, it's in, and not only that, but also this movie's really physical because he's doing all sorts of stuff. He's jumping around, he's running around, he's falling through holes in the ground. He's like, the movie is he also is in multiple fist fights. It's like he's really working in this movie. This is a very involving.
Oh yeah,
like he's involved in this. I remember he did a movie around the same time, maybe a little bit before. The movie Greed, which is, I think, very underrated. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah,
Greed is great. But when he did that movie, is all physical comedy for him, to the point where he's like falling out of windows and doing dance routines up and down stairs. I think people don't know or don't remember how physical he was, as well as being, even when he was Marty McFly, he's doing all the
got a lot of running.
Yeah, he's running. He's on skateboards. He's on hoverboards. He's
being pulled by a fucking horse on a rope, and
Oh man, that third one, dude. That third one. So
dance,
good.
and he's fucking doing a little Michael in the spittoon.
My favorite. And he goes, hee hee. He starts singing Billie Jean.
This little spin. Yeah.
And the thing, once again, Michael J. Fox, dude.
Also, we were talking about Back to the Future. I don't know how intentional this is. It's produced by Robert Zemeckis, but I love that he spends the whole like third act of the movie in a burgundy t-shirt. So if you're looking at him from the chest up, it's Marty McFly.
Well, it's funny too, because all the outtakes are so funny, because he keeps saying Doc instead of Judge. Keeps saying Doc, and I was like, and he goes, he goes, oh, I did it again. I said, it's so funny to watch him repeatedly say Doc instead of Judge. It's so funny.
Yeah, I've never. The opening shot's very Hitchcockian. Then we've got the Back to the Future like t-shirt, if you can call it just one shirt, Back to the Future, but still. And then I love when he is breaking his way into the hospital's chapel, and he gets to do the Shining shot.
So good. And then the portal in this. Oh my God, that's Monster Squad ish as well, where he does he's doing the Shining thing, and he looks in, and the light is there. It's majestic, like that whole moment, especially how dark and gritty the whole hospital's been, that when he sees that, it's movie magic to me. It's like, that's exactly what it would be. That's what it is,
Oh, that
well done.
He carries. This is the other part that really carried me through it, even though I know how the movie ends. But we've got to get Johnny's ashes to consecrated grounds.
Oh, boom!
And when fucking Dahmers gets it, and he just shakes it out,
and he does it so quick too. He does it before he can even finish his line.
Yeah. Well, first of all, and I get where his point of view is. Like, he's seen some shit, and he thinks Michael J. Fox is crazy. He's like, let me guess, you gotta get these consecrated grounds. Fuck you. But the fact that Michael J. Fox has just like this desperation, he's like, You've just
Yeah.
fucking doomed us
You have
all.
no idea what you just done. Oh yeah. Oh,
It's
that's
all there.
yeah. And he turns around and he's just like,
Masterful performance. I'm telling you, it's
so
so
good.
good.
Yeah, he's just like, that's the end. That you were done. That's it.
Right. Like if he was telling the story, like, oh my God, the movie just ended because you fucked us, is
Yeah.
everything that he's feeling right there. It's so good.
Yeah.
I can't stand
It's
it.
so good. So good. Yeah, he's man, Michael J. Fox, man. Michael J. Fox. And they never cast him as Robin. What? Sorry, he would have been
Dude.
he was my choice for Robin, dude. 1989, when they were gonna do when that movie came out, the first thing I said was, yo, Keaton is short. Michael J. Fox is short enough,
Shorter, yeah.
and Michael J. Fox is Marty. Michael J. Fox can play Dick Grayson. Just and they never did
Back in the old days,
it.
those of you who are younger, before the internet, you got your news from the newspaper or from magazines like Entertainment Weekly,
Starlog.
from your magazine, Starlog, Cinefx, that sort of thing. Cinescape,
Entertainment Weekly was my favorite. Oh my
same
god.
here. But before that, like when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, you maybe fucking like some Nickelodeon or fucking Disney Adventures or whatever the fuck.
Oh, Disney Adventures. I have a stack of them.
But I remember there was just the schoolyard, and the schoolyard was where you got all your lies. Like,
Oh yes. My dad made the hoverboards.
yeah, that's well, and the schoolyard, the summer Batman came out. Well, did you know Danny DeVito is going to be the Penguin and Michael J. Fox is going to be Robin?
Oh my god. Doesn't that
And
sound so awesome?
yeah,
I was so excited.
but that would like that for as far as I knew, like, well, yeah, Michael J. Fox is going to be Robin. I heard it on the schoolyard. Like, this is what's going to happen.
I wish that had happened. That's
I
what I wanted always.
Yeah, I heard. I also heard that Prince had two of his ribs removed so he could suck his own dick. Uh,
No, I heard that about
but
what's his
here's
name?
well, then I got
Marilyn
older.
Manson.
See, so when I was like 9 or 10 years old, it was Prince. When I was 16, all of a sudden, it was Marilyn Manson. I'm like, this is just
Somebody's making something up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know who. I'm sure there's kids on the schoolyard now who are like, oh, Ed Sheeran, he fucking sucks his own dick or something. Like
Oh,
what?
there's so much I want to say about that. I can't
I
stand Ed
just, I
Sheeran.
just, I just picked a name out of the ether. Someone big.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Going back to the movie, another little thing I love about this movie that it's like it's a big part of the flavor is that I love that this movie takes place in the U.S. but there's nowhere in the U.S. that looks like that fucking New Zealand coast. Like
Oh
that,
no, 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 not at all.
not at
No.
all. That is not United States whatsoever. But that's why this movie looks so fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's sort of midtown, little streets. It's coast. And you see the graveyard and like the little docks in the background, and everything's gray. Not even Seattle looks like that. Like that
No.
is not. That's
Yeah.
not Portland. That's not anything that I know. But it's
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah. It's not New England. Yeah. It's definitely yeah.
and especially when you're
Because
having
it's
when
is
you're
that what
having.
it's supposed to be? Is it supposed to be kind of like a New England town or
I
something, or
presume
is it like
so.
a okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, I presume, either a northwestern or a northeastern coast. But when you've got car chases and ghosts fly like these avenues, it looks so cool.
Yeah, the hills too, because when they're coming through, there's lots of hills that are
Yeah,
obstructing, and some of the car chases and stuff when he shoots out. I think it's even when he's going, yeah, the shot where it's flashing back and forth from modern day and the day his wife died and he has the car accident. These beautiful green hills that they're going through, but
mhm.
then all of a sudden you're in a graveyard, and all of a sudden you're here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden
Even
you're
just
running over somebody's gate or fence.
even just his house, like the hills in the distance are
Oh
like
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Like
It's
I know when people talk about like, oh, Lord of the Rings, I want to go to New Zealand. I'm like, yeah, part of me is like though, but like, have you seen Dead Alive and the Frighteners? I just want to go to like a fucking just basic ass habitated city. I just think they look cool over there.
I would love to go to where they shot the Frighteners. Go to that town. That'd be so cool.
Uh, have you ever seen Brain Dead?
I have, but I haven't seen it in at least 20 years.
Because I love, you probably knows about me. I love going to movie locations and not even exotic ones. Like
This is true.
this is the parking lot where Cher gets mugged and clueless, and it's just a shitty parking lot. But that part, there's these two zombies and they fuck and make a zombie baby, and then it gets loose in a park because he like
Okay.
takes it in a little pram.
I
I'm
do
like,
not
oh.
remember this movie at all then.
But if I went to New Zealand, I'm like, oh, I want to go to that park where the baby gets out. Like, I just,
Yeah.
I want to go
Yeah, I
there.
would like to go, hey, where is Michael J. Fox's wife get 13 carved into her forehead? Oh, it's
Yeah.
over there. Yeah.
I want to drive a car onto the, and I want to knock the fence over and
Yeah, yeah,
lawn gnome. That guy's fucking
yeah.
lawn.
When he runs over the gnome. Oh, so funny. Oh my
Oh, it's
God.
so
Oh,
good.
so also that guy, you know what's amazing is when they dubbed in the sound of the squirt gun that he's firing it the whole time as he's getting Michael J. Fox out of the house. The gun is still going. So he's
Yeah.
pulling the trigger. Dung, 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 dung,
Just,
dung. It's so funny. So funny.
speaking of funny, I have to also give credit because I don't think enough younger people recognize how fresh this was. Arlie Ermy, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first time Arlie Ermy kind of did comedy, doing shtick, playing himself, playing what
Right.
he did in Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
Like this was the first time he made
Well,
fun of
because
himself.
because he's straight up, he's playing that character for sure.
Yeah, but like, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
after this, he did a bunch of comedies that played up on him being a tough guy or him being a drill sergeant
right.
or just poking fun at his legacy as that type. And I think it all started with this.
Yeah, I believe so. It's funny because when I saw the movie, I remember going, "Oh, it's the guy from Full Metal Jacket. Oh, it's the ghost from Full Metal Jacket. Okay, cool." I remember that's what my mindset was. Um, but yeah, I can't remember anything before that, but I remember a lot of it afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, this was, and he's well. I feel like it's easy. Like, hey, remember that shit you yelled in Full Metal Jacket? Can you just yell some of that shit again?
I have heard.
But it also like I love that it builds almost this mythos because I'm like because he yells at the other ghosts to get back in their grave and they never say it. But the impression I got was that just sometimes if you stay here, because he talks, Frank talks about how like the ghosts mostly stay confined to the graveyard, but every once in a while they don't.
Yeah, they escape.
And
Yeah.
he's yelling at them to get. I'm like, does every graveyard just have like
A
a
gunny
ghost,
sergeant. Yeah.
a ghost who's kind of doomed to do that job for? I forget if he says he has 85 years left or he's
Yeah.
had 85 years, but like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a
He
gig.
says something that's like a gig. Yeah. When he
It's a
says that
post.
yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And
And
that's cool. That's cool little things in that universe and the rule what the rules are, but they're
yeah,
implied as opposed to like hitting us over the head.
absolutely. I don't know about you, but as far as my quote unquote like notes of like little things I jot down in the movies, I'm all done.
Well, I really well, so something that I think is awesome is the ghosts makeup. Specifically the three ghosts that live with Bannister. Even the dog ghost is amazing. The sequence where he steals his jaw and how the jaw is sticking out of his side, and you can tell he has a jaw over his real mouth that's crooked with fake teeth on his lips. But this thing is, it looks so well done. It looks real. It looks like the skin is like recessing on his chin, and that he's, dog's running away with my face. All of that works so well that even when he walks in, I remember the first time seeing that going, oh my God, that is what in my imagination ghosts look like.
Mm-hmm.
They're in pieces. They have some bone, they have some, and my ectoplasm's all dried up. All that stuff is really good. I really dig is it Stewart? Is Stewart the nerdy one?
Yeah.
I love Stewart. And what's the guy that's in the 70s outfits? When
Cyrus.
Cyrus. When they do the kids always get it. I love all of that. The hauntings. And also one of the things that always the bed levitating, they're flying the kids around. What's some of the other stuff? When he describes the toilet lid, in my head for some reason, I see them doing that. It's almost like they do with the door where they're like making the door go super fast so people can't get out. I love and she was so young and beautiful. Or like when they're walking with the skeleton, it looks like they're walking with an old lady
Oh my God,
somewhere.
which is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
I don't know
And
how those cops keep their cool.
oh my
Because that
God.
would destroy me.
Oh, I would be running. I would,
Played for
yeah.
laughs, but it's not fucking funny.
No, it's not funny. And when they're shooting it up and all the glass is breaking around it and it's like getting out of it's it's frightening. And then and also I didn't like they don't call me the hanging judge for nothing. Like all of that stuff is so
Dude,
adult that I never
it there. I mean, there's a lot of
so
horny
funny.
humor in the '80s, but I forgot how much random, just like the humor has to be horny sometimes. And like the
Yes.
judge is
Yeah.
just always when you see his ass, like literally like fucking his ghost ass, like humping.
So bad.
I love when they lay still like that. And it's
It's
only at least they focused it on one character. They're like, this character,
yeah.
he's old and horny.
Yeah. But I like it when they stay still like that. I was just like this. Oh my God.
Same thing with
So funny. Oh my God.
not
So
looks like I'm
funny.
not shooting blanks anymore.
More. Oh, looks like I'm not shooting blanks anymore. And he has the teeth all coming up. Oh my God.
He
And then
he looks at the just a photo of an X-ray and he's like, oh, nice
nice
bone.
teeth. He says nice teeth.
Also, can
I
we talk? We talked about Dee Wallace and Jeffrey Combs, but that's another like maybe not horror, but macabre legacy. John fucking Aston. That's like a huge get
mhm.
for that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if
Huge.
and he's also outstanding in it. Like it's
Yeah.
like you said, like when they're grabbing all of these people that have established these, careers and stuff in horror and macabre and all this stuff, and Gomez Adams. I mean, you're not gonna get any more macabre than,
Oh,
and not only that, but the first live action Gomez, he's incredible. Um, that when they were casting the same part, they were like, who we're gonna have Raul Julia because that's the only person that can, stand
yeah.
up to, and he's so good. I remember when I saw the movie, I go, oh my God, it's Gomez Adams, it's Gomez Adams. I could tell immediately by his eyes,
His eyes.
and
But
he's
he,
so good. I was bummed out when they cut him in half. I was like,
oh,
oh, the judge,
yep.
man.
I'm right there with Frank doing
I
that
was so
Michael J.
upset.
Fox yell. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I was so upset when they killed the judge. Oh, the
Yep.
judge, you killed the judge.
And it's
Oh
not just
man.
because he's funny and does a lot of sex jokes.
No, but you feel,
When he's
yeah.
sitting down with Frank explaining like that's no way to make a living. Like, look at you, kid. Like you've got it all and you're wasting it. You
Yeah.
know. Also,
Oh
he has
yeah.
the so like endears you in that scene, and that's one of the. I mean, I see why they cut it, but there's a lot of deleted material where there's more than one scene
Right.
of that, and it's like, hey, we don't need three versions of this. But that was kind of his role, was to kind of constantly be like, what's wrong with you, kid? Like,
Yeah, get it together.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also he has
'Cause-
the line that like for I when I saw the Frighteners, I thought it meant people who frighten.
mhm.
But when he says you can't go around putting the frighteners on
Frighteners
people, I'm
on.
like,
Yeah.
oh, you're saying like to make people like the who be the chili willies, or whatever the fuck you want to say,
Yeah.
the
Putting the
ookies
frighteners on
spookies.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Well,
oh, that's what the title is.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they are not the frighteners. You're putting the frighteners on people.
Yeah,
Yeah, the heebie jeebies. Yeah.
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 Spooky
It's
ookies.
yeah. Those things. But I love the attention to detail with the ectoplasm dripping from their faces and stuff. The ectoplasm's the only thing keeping the car together. Yeah.
Right, because you've got, first of all, the fact that when you're a ghost, you look the condition that your corpse is in. So Judge, super gross. Two guys from like essentially the early 60s and then like the 70s. But Lucy's husband, fresh corpse.
Right.
But there's two looks, right? There's the condition that your corpse is in, and then also we add ectoplasm. And I love that
Ectoplasm dripping from all your orifices. Yeah.
right. So every scene they've got wet eyes, they've got crap coming out of their ear, they got crap coming out of their nose.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing over the course of these days, you already start to see him just get goopier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, and when everything he does in that, and once again, but all the ghosts are amazing because you look at like Johnny Bartlett, you've got the judge, you've got Stewart, you've got Cyrus, or whatever his name is.
And Johnny Bartlett's got that burn mark from
Oh,
when
the
he got
burn mark on his
so
head.
good.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because it's the attention to detail on the ghosts. Because also, while being graphic and everything, they're not hard to look at. You know what I'm saying? I can only like albeit the like in comparison, like the ghost boy that had the back of his head shot out in Sixth Sense. You know what I'm saying? Like that is so graphic that, but I mean that's their intent. But what's cool that in this they're doing the similar type of thing, but they're making it where you can laugh at it and
Right.
watch it continuously
It's
without
not
being
bloody, and by making them blue and transparent, that really does help.
that fixes a lot. Yeah, that and that worm scene where they're going through their mouths and stuff, that can't the blue can't save that. That's still horrific. But because the
But
guy getting his head blown off for some reason is like, oh yeah. but the snakes up the nose are like, yeah, I can't do that.
I'm always fascinated when a movie I like to joke about how like it's either got like a sheet or a balloon around it. And when you start pushing out to certain extremes of comedy or grotesqueness, and sometimes you push too far, like it rips. And I feel like this movie
Right.
never rips. But I mean, for as intense as some of the chase and action scenes can be, or how serious some of the more macabre elements are, you still got this guy in like a 70s leisure suit going, she was so beautiful. Like all
Oh my
these
God.
really
Yeah.
broad comedy beats that never puncture or rip the balloon, but they're definitely pushing out at extremities, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm really happy that it all works, because there's a version of this movie where it doesn't, and it gets annoying, and it never does.
Yeah, I it's and it's funny because I just I this is there are movies that I go, I don't get why people don't like it. This movie I kind of get why people don't like it, and it's because people cannot handle too many things at one time. And you see movies that go, oh, I can't handle comedy and horror and kind of heartwarming stuff in the same movie. And this movie really takes it to the extremes in every direction, and it all really works. It's well written, it's well acted, it's very well edited because it just goes.
So tight.
Yeah.
And again, if have you ever seen the director's cut?
Yes, I own it somewhere. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it in a while, but I do remember thinking that the theatrical cut was superior only because the director's cut, as I remember, it feels kind of clunky and repetitive and unnecessarily long, and
Yeah.
doesn't really tread too much new ground. It's just kind of more of extended stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because every time I see it, because I wanted to watch it this time just to kind of refresh myself, because I've only seen it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I think I've seen
For
it
the
maybe
amount of
two.
times I've seen the Frighteners, that's not a lot.
Yeah, I think I've only seen it like maybe twice, and I've
But
watched the
like
Frighteners a million times.
after Dahmer's has kind of like broken Frank, there's a scene where like Dahmer's is watching Frank in his jail cell, and he's like, this is what happens. You do this, and then, I don't even think he's gonna get out. I'm expecting a suicide. And then I'm like, yeah, I see why you cut this. We already know he's low. I don't need Dahmer's to tell me he's low. I got it.
Right,
You know
I
what I
can
mean?
see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's so many things with the judge where I'm like, I get it. He needs to clean his act up, and you're the guiding. Got it. Like, there's a lot where when you talk about the editing, I'm like, yes, because the final cut of this movie is
Yeah.
like tight and efficient, and trusts that you don't need your things being spoon fed to you,
And also
or just
it
every little
definitely
thing,
if it
little things that just
I was
don't need to
just
be there.
right, yeah, because
Lucy goes to Frank's house, and there's like a quick bit where like the husband of her ghost sees the map of their house, and it says like levitate bed, flick toilet seat, and he's like, oh, this guy, he was a con artist. I'm like, yeah, that's 20 seconds you don't need. And
yeah.
clearly they understood that.
Yeah, I think that there's nothing that I remember from what I do remember that there was nothing cut that I was like, oh, that needed to be in the movie. I felt like there was nothing that it didn't change the movie so much. In fact, like for movies that have unnecessary, bloated cuts, like, and is a bad example, but it's a good parallel in my opinion of it. Batman versus Superman, the extended cut is the same movie. It just makes a little more sense, but doesn't improve it. And this movie, it improves it to have less talking and less
Yeah.
filler. And the filler version is just more and not necessarily super beneficial to the movie. It's just repetitive.
Yeah, I'll give props to the editor, because it isn't just the fact that like the movie, so when there's an extended scene, it feels like there are beats that I'm like, that's your end beat.
Yeah.
And the final cut knows that. Like, for example, they've come back from the night at Lucy's, And Cyrus is like, and there's nothing more than a bunch of pissed off, ghosts that are already dead, or
Right.
pissed off brothers that are already dead. Cut to exterior of the house the next morning. Cut to them eating cereal and talking. The extended cut,
He goes and helps
after
Stuart
he
and all
says
that
that
stuff.
line, yeah, he helps Stuart, and the scene goes on for another minute. I'm like, you had your beat. That's
Yeah.
the end of your scene. And then also the next morning, Frank's taking a shower. Cyrus is like, hey, can we talk? Let's have a meeting. No, just cut to the meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, also another great line is like, I'm going to start the African American Apparition
Apparition
Coalition.
Coalition, the AAAC.
CP.
Yeah, the AAAC.
Okay, so one of my my favorite moment is the kick in the gun, but one of my favorite deliveries is like, and then could you give me some cigars? But you're a ghost, you can't smoke. But you could blow
You
the
can blow
smoke
the
in my
smoke in my
face.
face. But you could blow the smoke in my face. Hey, and not only that, but remember, they were not working together. So it's like one of those things that's just like really crazy is that like there's really good what's it called?
Chemistry, world building.
Yeah, chemistry between them. Michael J. Fox's chemistry with the judge, with all the ghosts that live with him, is really good. And considering at least 80% of it, he was not in the room with them, at least. So it's very well done.
Oh yeah, and this is back in the old days where it's like now we do a take when you say the line so you know what the scene is, and now get the fuck out. Now you
Yeah.
can do the scene alone.
Yeah. Can you do the scene now like you're talking to a ghost because we can't film the guy in the room with you?
And you know what I
Yeah.
just realized now? It's such a dumb thing, but it's a little thing for me, so I'm still gonna say it. I love I've experienced this both as an actor, like learning through like high school and college, when you've got lines of dialogue, and sometimes all you need to make the scene work and be interesting is like put a pen in their hand, give them like an activity, because in real life you talk while you're doing things. And sometimes I will see a scene and an actor is just going on for a while, and I'm like, can we just give that dude a bowl of cereal or something, just so like he has a real activity to like kind of put him in the moment. And I just realized like that scene with the ghost, it's just him eating cereal, but it makes everything feel more natural. And my example of like, can we give that dude a bowl of cereal? They literally gave that dude a bowl of cereal. So
Yeah.
props.
And props to props, and he
Yeah.
chucks it out the window. It's just he literally just goes, "Get out!" And it's so funny. Like I was saying to my daughter, I was like, "Did you see him chuck the cereal?" She goes, "What?" I said, "We want to say watch this," and she just goes, "Boom!" and through, and you just see all these like Fruit Loops flying over the valley. It's so funny.
I mean, but he's such a physical. You see that with Marty and just running to get into the DeLorean when they're at the mall, or if there's a girl he likes in Family Ties, and like the way Michael P. Keaton will like slide into just like he's like a silent film actor with like control
For
of his
sure.
body. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Well, and see what's funny is that like in that movie Greed, he does a dance number where he does a Jimmy Durante number.
Yeah,
And it's incredible. I that movie, I remember seeing it in theaters, and I remember that stuck out in my head. He just did a Jimmy Durante number. It was awesome. He's there's no one else like him.
here's how memorable it is. My parents rented it. I saw it when it first came out, and the only thing I remember about that movie is that he does a Jimmy Durante number.
Yeah.
So it's got staying power.
Yeah, he's his physical and I mean, and that's why they brought him in on Back to the Future, is because he can play funny and serious and awkward in serious situations where it's identifiable and funny while it's kind of questionable situation.
Do you know how good it is? How like I don't think you're gonna agree with me. When he first clocks George in the diner, just that look on his face, like, oh my God, that's my fucking dad.
Yeah.
And there's no dialogue. It's a look. And everyone in the audience, no matter what country you're in, no matter what language you speak, that kills. And it's communicating everything.
Yeah.
He is super
face. Yeah, so good. Well, I mean,
and George is like, what?
Yeah. His whole thing. Yeah. I just rewatched all three Back to the Future movies because my daughter wanted to binge the Back to the Future movies because she's seen some of them and here and there, and she watched first, second, and third back to back and loved them, and everything landed. And it's all Michael J. Fox. It's all Michael J. Fox, and it It doesn't matter what era it is, how old somebody is. In his movies, his character is funny, identifiable, and you like him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is my favorite Michael J. Fox movie. I think that this
Fuck
movie is
yeah.
incredible. And I think that that and I oh man, Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, the Hobbit trilogy, beautiful, wonderful. The Frighteners still top the list for movies directed. What's his name again? I
Peter
completely
Jackson.
Peter Jackson. I don't know why I brain farted on that. Peter Jackson, of all of his movies, the one that I always my favorite Peter Jackson movie is Frighteners. It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Uh, I respect that. I don't. I think my personal favorite's Dead Alive,
Well, yeah.
but you know
That
my sensibilities more.
I was gonna say
Like
that's very your yeah, for sure.
it's bloody, it's funny, it's full of zombies, and like
Well,
come
but
on,
see, most people would go, "You're not gonna say Return of the King. You're not gonna say, And I'm
dude.
not. The Frighteners is my
But
jam.
but I mean, when you look at his body of work, like I honestly, besides Dead Alive, like I would have a hard time telling you which one I like more, The Frighteners or Heavenly Creatures. And then you go, oh, but the fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then I go, like, oh my god, there's too many good movies. Like, ah.
Yeah,
So like, but like, if you said your favorite movie is Heavenly Creatures, I go, cool, that makes sense to me. If you said The Frighteners, I go, cool, that makes sense to
makes
me. I
sense to me.
don't I don't object to any of them. Now, if you said, oh, like The Lovely Bones, I go, really? But
Godzilla. No, King Kong. King Kong,
King
not Godzilla.
Kong.
I say Godzilla. King Kong. Yeah, man. His King Kong movie is great. Long, but it was
Wait, are you
great.
fucking with me? Are you serious?
His King Kong movie, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. You
Okay,
didn't like
cool.
it?
No, 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 no. I've never.
I liked it. I liked
No,
it
no.
because it was true to the original. I hate
I like it.
sequels I like it. I think it's
I
great.
don't love it, but I like it. I own it. I just haven't really heard anyone. Most people, I feel like culturally, you hear more about. Well, it's fucking long. The dinosaur stampede takes too long. Like I haven't heard anyone in a long time speak nice about it. I just thought you're being sarcastic.
Oh no, I love the movie. I love the visuals of it. I'm cool with it taking place predominantly on the island. Not so much that's like, oh, we're doing a different movie where it's just that. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in where he's from, how they get in there, why he's there, and then him climb. As soon as I like the tumbling down the hill where I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna have to climb the Empire State Building, right? Even when they promoted that movie, they kept all the stuff in New York pretty much out of the trailers, and that's all the stuff that I really love. Jack Black, I thought he was great in it. I enjoyed it.
No, no, Jack
Maybe
Black's great.
I thought the whole movie was great.
Them in Central Park and spinning on the
I
ice, like
love it.
that's magical.
Yeah, I love it. I think it has all the grandioso. If I show King Kong to my kid, it's not gonna make any sense. They're gonna go, huh? But if I show my kid this version of King Kong, this will last with her the way the original King Kong, and because the first King Kong and Godzilla are both incredible, dark, tragic, beautiful movies. This Godzilla, the first Godzilla is
First
just
one is amazing.
the first Godzilla movie is all dark and shadows and monster at night destroying the city and just trying to escape. And the first Godzilla movie is so good. But yeah, King Kong and Godzilla, the first two movies on from both of those, and I feel like Peter Jackson did a true, really well done King Kong movie. Like it's a remake of King Kong and well done.
Yeah, and also he's such a fan of King Kong that
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this with a lot of remakes. It feels like maybe to his detriment to a certain degree. It feels like a movie that's made by someone who loves King Kong.
Yes, yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
and someone's like, I like that movie, but if I got it, I want to kind of just make the same thing again, but really embellish the ensemble. But I really want to embellish the time of the I want to embellish everything. I want to embellish the kind of love story, and it's going to take me 3 hours to do it, and not everyone's going to be on board. But this is a fan film.
Yeah, it is. I like it. I'm surprised. I remember. I mean, I own the double disc and all this stuff
Yeah.
from when it came out, but I do remember there being some people going and then when I saw it, um, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's like a perfect film, or it's like I said, it's not even my favorite film of his, but I think it's quite good. I think that Peter Jackson, you know what, is a movie that when I saw it, it reminded me of Peter Jackson was Crimson Peak, which is it deals with romance and intrigue and paranormal, and does it in such a magical, great way that when I saw the movie, everybody was having issues, and I was like, "What was the issue with the movie?" I didn't have any issues. I thought it was great. I was like, "I was great." That is exactly what a ghost movie should be, in my opinion. That's what I want to see. Um, and movies like that, I just think people don't get it. Like movies like The Frighteners, people just don't get them. They have a certain expectation in their head, um, for films, especially horror, suspense, supernatural
Yeah.
thrillers,
Everyone I know
where
who loves it was also like a kid in the 90s when it came out.
right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't say you had to be there, but this is definitely a movie that is a great watch when you're like, between like 10 and 16, 17. Like what a
Oh
great
yeah,
um and also I'll never forget I saw it in theaters with my dad and I liked it so much I went a second time and took my buddy and I'm like, oh man, you're gonna like this. It's funny the okay, this is not remotely relevant, but it's just a little thing that's stuck in my head, so I'm gonna tell it. But it's funny the little things that we remember that don't fucking matter versus all the little things that maybe we forget. And I remember seeing this in theaters, and every time the tunnel appeared, I didn't notice at the time, but I thought the sound design was supposed to be like. It wasn't until I got home and watched it on VHS that I realized the speakers were blown out in the theater, and that was the speakers popping because they couldn't handle the. And I'm like, "Where's the tunnels? Don't sound all weird and poppy anymore." Oh, oh. But I saw in this theater that had these busted speakers.
that's
And
funny.
I always remember that whenever I watch, every time I watch the tunnels happen, I always miss
That's how what the sound was when
that
he first.
blowout.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, there's we were at work the other day. We were talking about great sounds in movies like that, and they were like, it sounds different in the theater. But in Star Trek 4, the wom 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 of the probe
Mm.
in theaters, I remember how that sounded in theaters when I was a kid and saw Star Trek 4. And when I watch the movies, I'm always like, oh, it doesn't sound like it did when I saw it. It probably was blown speakers too. I mean, it was the 80s.
It's quite possible. It still happens now.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember where I was when I saw the Frighteners. I remember where I saw it. I remember what theater. It doesn't exist anymore.
Same.
But it's a great movie. And when it comes to like macabre Halloween type movies that are right in between being graphic and being too much and then being hocus pocus, you've got
Right.
this. And
It's fun and it's got spooky vibes, but it's not like a family comedy like Hocus
not quite.
Pocus.
It's not, yeah, it's not
But it's
quite.
not bloody enough to be like legit horror. It's
Yeah.
just spooky, fun, adult-ish vibes.
Yeah. It's special, and it's in its own place where I don't think that many movies go, but only truly great movies land in this kind of zone, I think.
Before we end this, I just realized we've praised almost every actor like that's a dude in this movie, but Trini Alvarado.
Is this Lucy?
Yeah.
She, yeah, like I told you, that sequence where Johnny Bartlett is holding her down and uh
She's so good.
Frank Bannister knocks out and she's looking, she's like, oh, and there's her mouth. I don't even remember what she says. She says please or something. And she's got like a spittle on her between her lips and everything, and she's so scared. It looks so real. Um, yeah, it's almost uncomfortable now. Like when I saw it the other day, I was like, God, this is really intense. I made me feel kind of uncomfortable. She's so good.
I think even
Um,
before that, she gets like thrown into like a wall, and it really looks. I know it's a stunt double, but it really looks like it
yeah,
hurts.
yeah, it looks, yeah, and she everything lands. She seems genuinely concerned.
She's really
Um,
good at that playful scene at the end where she
oh, I love it.
sees the
Yeah.
ghost. Also, I just respect the fact that you see this so much, even now, where you've got your male lead and that character has a name, and then they've either got the wife or the movie just has the girl. And they usually have a character name, but they don't really have a role in the movie other than to support or be the sounding board for the male lead to like bounce off of. I always
Right.
imagine like a producer with a cigar going, "Who are we going to get to play the girl?"
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
and she as an actor kind of rises above it in this role. And then also the fact that I wouldn't say the character has as much agency as Frank, but she does have the right kind of smarts to understand like he's not a con man though, right? Like she even tells him like you're not wrong, like you can do this. And she isn't just his cheerleader. She like takes the like she makes the effort to go to the house when she knows that like that lady's in danger. Like she is a somewhat active character, and
Well, I mean,
Trini Alvarado really elevates her to not feeling like the girl.
well, and also, I mean, remember, like when I thought it was the sequence where they put him kind of into cryogenics, that whole thing is really well done. Her character is the one that is leading that. Even the doctor, who seems like a real
Oh yeah.
doctor, when he's like, hey, Lucy works she's a material witness, and all that stuff. And then when he shows her back and he's helping Lucy, all of that, you feel like she's really a doctor, like it's all real. There's at no point does she seem like a damsel in distress,
Mm-mm.
other than when Frank Bannister's choked out. That's literally the only time. In fact, the agent, when he has the gun and she shoots him with the fire extinguisher, at any point, like watching this movie, I feel like she would be smarter to just run, but she cares so much that she's kind of the hero of the movie, because even Frank falls in and out of Frank. He's more of a weapon than she's more of the one telling him what he needs to do, which
I
I think
mean,
is genuinely interesting.
she gets in the car with Agent Danvers and knows to start yelling to like make him
Son
upset.
of
Like,
a bitch. Oh, it's so good. Oh, so good.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
she's great. So respect to her. Um, Also, my brain's just remembering. I mean, I know I'm trying to wrap this up, but like, there's all these little like beats and the way it's edited, and just like we were talking about how certain shots are very clever. Even just the way information is dolloped. I love that. Like at first, you're watching this movie and you're like, all right, so we got Frank, but then we got this lady in the beginning who's being chased by a ghost, and there's a mom, but then there's Frank, but then he bumps into Lucy's husband, and but I love that we've seen Lucy. Have we seen Lucy? Oh no, we've seen Lucy's husband. Oh yeah, and then Lucy goes to the house. Then she goes and watches the documentary, and you're like, every 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
then it all comes together. But one of my favorite ways it comes together is we're watching the documentary. We don't know it's being watched by someone, and it cuts to her going, "Oh, her! I was in her house today."
Yeah.
And then the very next thing is her husband comes into frame because he's exercising, and then we go, "Oh, they're
Oh
married."
yeah. When he comes up,
And
he's like, oh.
all of a sudden, three separate characters all become part of one unified story, and it takes place within like a 2 second edit.
Yeah, well
And
done. I mean, just
and
it's just
it's him like rowing into frame.
yeah. I feel like
So good.
and we were saying about this, all the older actors, but even the actors that we don't know as well, including those two, everybody is working. Everybody's doing their job, and everybody is taking what they're doing and fully expressing it.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. There's nobody sleeping in this movie.
No. And I can't stress enough how like I don't consider Peter Jackson a comedy director, but like they're like in the police station, and like in the foreground, it's like, well, I don't think we're gonna be seeing Frank Bannister again.
Oh yeah,
And
and
in
he
the
just walks in.
background, Frank Bannister's walking.
That landed too. My
That's
daughter
so
was laughing. She was like, "Wait, he's right there," and I was like,
oh,
"Yeah."
it's so
It's
good.
what-
And
yeah.
here's how the movie spins all of its plates. The very next second, it's him like in a daze going like, "Hey, I'm just here to tell you that that lady's
Her
body
body,
is just a
yeah.
few feet from my car." Like it he he's it's not funny for Frank,
No,
but
but it's
but it's funny like
yeah, the fourth wall, it's
that is
hilarious. Yeah.
it's this movie, it's a very, very small needle to try to thread, and it threads it.
Yeah, it does everything well. Everything lands, everything works. It's the reason it's not popular is I think it's in this little niche area where you have to get all the jokes, you have to be in on it, and if you're not, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
It's really witty, it's very smart, it's well written, it's well edited, it's well acted. It's it's a great movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I love this
Nice.
movie. I love this movie. I mean, if you were to go, rank movies, it's not. I don't know if it landed in my top 10 or anything, but of the top 50 movies I've ever seen, Frighteners is probably one of the ones I would go. I had a genuine great time, and every time I watch this movie, I love it. It's a great film. It's really well put together. It just
I'm
has a
with you.
little weird of an opening with a character that doesn't really matter and changes looks every 2 seconds. Other than that, because dude, the editor, she's the reason to leave that guy in there just so she can do her whole spiel where she's reading the headline and saying no more references to death as a person. Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So I love this movie. I think it's easily one of my favorite movies. Is one of my most rewatched movies. And when it comes to Halloween spooky type fun movies where you can show it to your kids and skip over certain parts, I think this movie is a 10. I love this movie.
Right on. I love it too. Obviously, I
Yeah,
remember
man.
VHS, DVD, now on 4K. Like, can't stop.
I remember the DVD that was really cool because it had the and so did the VHS. The box was a hologram,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that the head would look like it was coming in and out of the wall. So cool.
yeah.
Great movie.
Uh,
Great poster too. They really nailed what for people that like the movie. People that have never seen the movie, it looks way scarier than it really is. But if
right.
you've watched the movie, it's exactly right. But if you haven't seen the movie, it looks really intense.
I mean, there's a difference between posters that are great because of what they, encompass for the movie versus do they sell the movie, right?
Right.
Because I feel like maybe one of the reasons why the movie didn't light the world on fire in the box office is this poster doesn't have Michael J. Fox or any of the other ghosts on it. Like if
It looks like a horror
if
movie.
if my mom saw that, she's like, "Well, I don't want to see that. That looks scary," and I
Yep.
don't know what it's about. I don't know that
Yeah.
it's funny. You know,
Well, it's funny, also in the movie when I remember seeing in the theaters when the font came up and it said the Frighteners and the glow around it's kind of a blue. I was like, I already love this movie. This is exactly what I want to watch. It has like a Gremlins, Ghostbusters kind of vibe, Beetlejuice, even the font and then
yeah,
music and everything. Yeah, it's so good.
agreed. BJ,
Yes, sir.
thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me come talk about one of my favorite movies and just bleh all over it.
Yeah, it was a good rabbit hole to go down because I haven't talked about this movie with anyone in ages.
Yeah, I don't think I don't. People that know me would go, he likes that movie that much. I've never even heard about that movie because I haven't spoken about it in so long. But it's in my household. It's a known thing, and it was cool to get to watch it with my little girl so we could talk today. And the fact that she loved it um, made me even more excited about it. She's like, "Oh, I love that movie." So yeah,
Yeah, no, it's nice to like rewind and go, no, watch the cereal bowl this time. Watch him
yeah,
throw the fucking bowl.
yeah. That's right. It's all about
Uh,
that cereal bowl.
hopefully we'll have you on again at some point. And
Yeah, man. I love talking movies with you instead of doing it in the hallways of the locker room where we used to work. We do it now this way, which is awesome.
yeah, hopefully until next time,
Ditto.
we'll figure something out. Thank you everyone for watching.